Hi, everyone. My name is Sierra Sambrowski, in case you're not familiar with me, and I'm an intuitive medium, not an astrologer. In case you're confused by the fact that I'm going to be talking about the energies and the message for all of us to take away regarding the new moon and solar eclipse, which is happening tonight and which is August 12th, 2026, in case that needs to be stamped and somebody's watching this at a later time. What I will say is that if you find this at a later time, know that this message is for you, and this is definitely something that you need to be hearing. So, why am I talking about this tonight? I'm talking about this because my work centers around cycles and patterns, particularly as things are ending or transitioning. And there's really no more, well, first of all, there's no more prominent cycle for any of us, but especially for us women, than the moon cycle. And the reality of the situation is that the moon is affecting all of us all the time, the way it affects the tides in the water. And if we think about it, we are mostly water, so you're absolutely affected. Not to mention the fact that as women, we are also on a 28-day cycle the same way the moon is. Is that a coincidence? I don't believe in those. So the answer to that is no. And it's important for us to tune into what's happening with the moon, even not from like digging deep into the astrological stuff, because as I said, I'm not an astrologer, and I'm sure there are a shit ton of astrologers out there talking all about all the different facets and aspects of what's happening right now. But with regards to my work and how I use when there's eclipses, or also you'll notice that I often do like solar equinox and the solstices. I'll do card pulls and kind of do a forecast for all of us so that we know what the energies are that we are working with. Because just like nature and all the many aspects of nature, we too are constantly in a cycle, in a rhythm. And yes, they create patterns for us. And so we should be aware of the ones that are going on in a bigger context, in a collective context, so that we know exactly what might be coming up for us and also how to leverage it, how to like use this stuff to help us even more, right? And so I think that that's one of the things that we need to most be aware of right now with regards to this particular new moon with the solar eclipse. So when we think about it in the most practical and simplistic terms, the reality of the situation is new moon means that a cycle is about to begin, and also that it is dark right now. Now, when you layer in the fact that while the new moon is happening in some parts of the world, there's also a solar eclipse happening in other parts of the world, that's even more darkness, right? And in particular, we're in Leo season still, so we've not transferred into Virgo. And so when Leo's a fire sign, and when we have it in Leo, it's also very much about our passions, our desires, and the way that we show up in the world. It's really calling us then to be very clear about the things that are in the dark for us right now that we need to be letting go of, and also planting seeds for what we want to be creating in this new cycle, in this new phase as we move into it, that also may not be seen. So, for me, like I said, I'm not an astrologer at all. I know plenty enough. And if you know, I have plenty of other tricks in my bag between the human design and the NLP and being a grief facilitator and all that kind of stuff. And so when I look at it from there, as well as connecting to spirit and asking them what they want me to share, how they want me to guide other people around these concepts, one of the important things that they said to me, that they're reminding me what they said to me earlier as I was writing my newsletter, um, they're saying it's about, I say this in readings to people a lot and when I work with people. I'm never giving you information that some part of you doesn't already know. So what Spirit is saying to me right now is that though it may seem like a lot of darkness right now, the reality is that there is some part of you that really does know the things that you have in particular lost passion for. Though they're also saying to me, and I know this very, very well, that a lot of times what we think we desire, what we might have passion for, and this could be showing up in relationships, career, any of those things. There's always a dynamic for passion and desire tied into anything, every aspect of our life. And that's a whole nother, that's a bigger message that we'll get to in a minute. But right now what they're saying is that it's about tuning in and understanding the things that you have maybe been kind of programmed, conditioned, allowed yourself to believe that you desire or are passionate about, but that they're really very surface level, and they're actually making me feel like a lot of people listening, it's actually going to be for you guys in particular, um, really stuff that's kind of been impressed into you from family beliefs, ancestral, generational beliefs. And so, as I was saying, this is about being able to be honest with ourselves and ask in a deeper way, what really do I desire for myself? What really am I passionate about? The solar eclipse is the hiding of the sun, right? So what do you need to be tuned into with regards to things that are not lighting you up anymore? And maybe, like I said, some of that stuff is that you've outgrown it, and maybe some of it was never really yours to begin with. So that's the primary thing that Spirit is asking all of us to kind of lean into and lay into right now at this particular time. What are the things also that you've been afraid or denying that maybe you are passionate about, that you have a real desire for? And it's interesting because, again, remember, I'm not an astrologer, so I don't think Leo has much to do with money, but what they're saying to me right now in this moment is that there's a lot of people that might be watching that are carrying that idea, the belief around that, our money can come from the things that we are passionate about. But if we're not honest with ourselves, excuse me, it's just confirmation. If we're not honest with ourselves about what exactly it is that we desire or are passionate about, we're actually restricting our money flow. So in particular, if you've been having issues with your money flow, with also they're saying to me with like being promoted or moving forward in your career, and of course, obviously, people that are business owners, this is really going to impact you as well. If you have digressed or don't fully understand what it is that is your true soul's purpose and are aligned to that, and you're not allowing yourself to go after it and incorporate that into your passions and your desires, I mean, like I said, it's going to affect everything, but for whatever reason, they're saying to me to talk about it in relationship to money and income flow. So take that if you need it. Um, I think the other thing that, again, astrologically, I'm not sure how this plays in, but one of the things that they have really put on me to really hammer home into is that there needs to be real depth. And this feels like it's more than just about this new moon and solar eclipse and all the astrological stuff that's happening right now. This is also very much about the collective. And what I also know is the way like astrology predicted us moving into the age of Aquarius, out of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius a few years ago, human design also has the collective age of times, overarching incarnation cross that plays over all of society and the collective. And so we too, from a human design perspective, are about the whole collective, the whole earth, all of society is about to shift into a new incarnation cross, which is, I believe, writing across of Sleeping Phoenix 1, which I'm actually like 99% sure that's exactly what it is. And so that whole thing, just like when we talk about these big energies happening, even these little eclipses and whatnot, right? Like we feel the energies and the movement of the planets and the retrogrades a little before and a little after, and sometimes months before and months after, depending on how big the movement is. When you have the whole age after 5,000 years shifting, we're seeing that movement for years, and we're seeing it coming out for years. But so technically in 2027, we move into this new age as a collective energy where the overall purpose of the collective shifts. And so I won't go into that right now, but it is a lot more about identifying and knowing ourselves more deeply and how that plays into really feeding and living out our soul's purpose. And so Spirit is saying to me very much so that it's also very much about all of that collective happening right now. That energy is extremely at play right now. And so just know that this new moon, these eclipses are asking us to go deep, 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 to get rid of, to get digging underneath the things that are surface level, to get beneath the programs, the conditioning that we've carried from wounding, from generations, beliefs, whatever. Okay? So layer all that together. Buckle up if you've not been doing this work and you are really kind of avoidant of this work, then the next 2 weeks going into the next eclipse is not probably going to be fun for you. From what I understand, it's going to show up in the ways that I always like to say, feels like a kick in the teeth. So shit's going to get harder if if you're avoiding it, if you're not stepping into that flow, if you're not moving into that alignment. Hope this helps. Please know that I would love it if you like, share, subscribe, and comment. Ask me any questions you want in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribing to my YouTube channel. And if you think you might like help around this, kind of really get into the diagnosis of specifically what is going on for you that needs to be let go of, where is your purpose, what seeds should you be planting, and uncovering that and moving into that, I would love to work with you. So check out my website, sierrasambrowski.com. Under the tab, work with me, and I will see you all soon. Enjoy this new moon solar eclipse.